Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins have been at the center of controversy lately, and it's not been for the reasons they would have hoped. The 2024 season was one filled with turbulence, and it ultimately exposed a lot of vulnerabilities that no one anticipated. One of the major issues the team faced was the health of their presumed franchise quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. Tagovailoa, a player with immense potential, only managed to appear in 11 games due to repeated concussion concerns that sent shockwaves throughout the organization. The injury woes that plagued the quarterback position were a devastating blow to the team's overall performance, leaving the Dolphins to scramble for solutions at the most important position in football. It wasn't just the quarterback position that suffered. The turmoil appeared to infect other aspects of the team as well. Wide receiver Tyreek Hill, one of the brightest stars on the Dolphins roster, found himself in a situation where he reportedly requested a trade out of Miami. The request was a clear sign of dissatisfaction within the locker room, as Hill's relationship with the team and its direction seemed to have soured, adding another layer of complexity to an already challenging season. General Manager Chris Grier, however, addressed the situation publicly during a press conference, making it clear that, at least for the time being, the Dolphins had no intention of honoring Hill's trade request. While the wide receivers' future with the Dolphins remains uncertain, Grier's stance on the matter was firm. However, when the focus shifted to cornerback Jalen Ramsey, the tone from Grier shifted dramatically. Ramsey, the former first-round pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars, never asked to be traded, yet Grier admitted that it might be in the best interest of both Ramsey and the Dolphins to part ways. This announcement raised a lot of eyebrows, considering that just a year ago, the Dolphins had signed Ramsey to a lucrative 3-year contract extension worth $72 million, making him the second highest paid cornerback in the NFL at that time. It was an agreement that seemed to solidify Ramsey's future in Miami for the foreseeable future. So, to now be discussing the possibility of trading him so soon after such a major financial commitment was both perplexing and concerning to many. Ramsey, despite not having requested a trade, found himself at the heart of this dramatic shift in the Dolphins' plans. The situation is baffling, especially when you consider that Miami's defense, which was one of the team's few bright spots last season, was built around players like Ramsey. The move to trade away a top-tier cornerback at the height of his prime is a head-scratcher, especially considering how instrumental he had been to the team's defensive success in recent years. But in the world of the NFL, where contracts and player movements are often dictated by financial considerations and team needs, nothing is truly off limits. For the Los Angeles Chargers, the situation with Ramsey presents a rare opportunity to add a superstar to their roster at a time when they're in need of reinforcements on the defensive side of the ball. While the Chargers have a promising young talent in 5th-round pick Taheeb Still, who was one of the league's standout cornerbacks during his rookie season, the team is currently lacking a proven veteran star to complement him. Asante Samuel Jr., another cornerback who had been a key part of the Chargers' defensive unit, is unlikely to return, leaving a glaring hole in the secondary that needs to be filled if Los Angeles is going to take the next step toward championship contention. Despite having shown reluctance to spend big money during the offseason, the Chargers find themselves in a situation where Ramsey's contract structure actually plays into their favor. While the prospect of acquiring a player of Ramsey's caliber would usually come with a hefty price tag, his deal is set up in such a way that it's financially manageable for a team like the Chargers. If Los Angeles were to make a move for Ramsey, that would be acquiring a player who is currently under contract, but with minimal cap implications should they decide to part ways with him after the 2025 season. His dead cap hit would be just $18 million in 2026 and only $10 million in 2027, which makes the long-term financial commitment far less daunting than it would initially appear. In terms of a potential trade package, Mo Moton of Bleacher Report suggested that the Dolphins might be willing to part with Ramsey for a 3rd-round pick. This is a very reasonable asking price for a player of Ramsey's caliber, and it could prove to be a bargain for the Chargers if they decide to move forward with the deal. While the Chargers have been hesitant to part with draft picks in the past, They balked at the idea of trading for star receiver DK Metcalf due to the cost of a second-round pick. This situation is different. The Chargers would not be required to extend Ramsey immediately, and they will be able to assess his fit with the team before making any long-term commitments. The idea of acquiring Ramsey is also in line with the Chargers' broader strategy. Under their newly hired head coach Jim Harbaugh, known for his defensive-minded approach to coaching, has made it clear that he wants to build a team with a strong defensive identity. The Chargers already boasted a solid defense last season, but adding a player of Ramsey's caliber would elevate that unit to elite status. With Ramsey lining up alongside Still, the Chargers would have one of the best cornerback duos in the league, giving them the flexibility to shut down opposing offenses and make life miserable for quarterbacks in the AFC. If the Chargers were able to pull off this trade, it would send a clear message to the rest of the league that they are serious about competing for a championship in 2025. While the move to acquire Ramsey would not come without risks, the potential rewards are immense. By solidifying their defense with a proven superstar, the Chargers would not only improve their chances of making a deep playoff run, but also position themselves as one of the most dangerous teams in the AFC, in a league where the balance of power can shift in an instant. This trade could be the piece that puts Los Angeles over the top. As the 2025 NFL Draft approaches, the Chargers find themselves in a position where they can make a bold move that could reshape the trajectory of their season. The Dolphins' willingness to trade Ramsey presents an opportunity that may be too good for the Chargers to pass up. With the right move, Los Angeles could turn a potential weakness into a strength and set themselves up for a successful season. All eyes will be on the Chargers as they weigh their options in the coming weeks, and the decision they make could have far-reaching implications for the franchise's future. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments, what's your take on the Fins this week? There was a time not long ago when Tyreek Hill electrified the city of Miami. The lights of Hard Rock Stadium seemed to flicker with every cut he made, the cheers rising to deafening heights as he torched opposing secondaries and rewrote the franchise's history books. In 2023, Hill didn't just play football. He orchestrated symphonies of speed, leaving defensive backs gasping in his wake and fans breathless in admiration. That year, he shattered the Dolphins' single-season receiving record, a feat so spectacular that any murmurs about his off-field controversies were silenced by the thunder of his cleats on the turf. He was not just a star, he was the star. But time, as it always does, has a way of dulling even the sharpest blades. In 2024, the brilliance of Tyreek Hill dimmed. His production, once among the NFL's elite, dipped sharply. 959 receiving yards might be a dream for many wideouts, but for Hill, it was an undeniable fall from grace. He had led the league the year prior, but in a cruel twist of fate, 29 other players outpaced him this time around. The numbers, cold and indifferent, told a story no one in Miami wanted to hear. The cheetah was slowing down. And then came the noise off the field. Another controversy. This time, it was domestic. Tyreek and his wife Keita thrust into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. The headlines blurred the lines between athlete and individual, and once again the Dolphins front office found themselves weighing the balance between talent and turmoil. Chris Greer, Miami's longtime general manager, a man known for his pragmatism, finally spoke, not with urgency, not with desperation, but with the calm precision of a man who has seen enough football seasons to know that nothing lasts forever. Not even superstars. The Dolphins, Greer insisted, were not shopping Hill. There were no late-night calls to rival GMs, no whispered meetings behind closed doors. But then came the words that changed everything. If a team, any team, were to offer 2 first-round picks for Hill, then yes, Miami would consider it. Consider! A word loaded with implication. In that one moment, the illusion of Hill's untouchable status crumbled. No longer was he the indispensable heart of the Dolphins' offense. He was now an asset with a price tag. Of course, the likelihood of such an offer materializing is slim. Hill's production no longer screams elite, and his off-field baggage weighs heavily on his market value. 2 first-round picks is a king's ransom, typically reserved for only the most pristine, game-changing players. Those without question marks, without distractions. And right now, Tyreek Hill is a walking question mark. Still, the thought lingers, what if? What if a team desperate for speed, seduced by the highlight reels of 2023, decided to gamble? What if some franchise believed that their culture, their quarterback, their system could unlock the Tyreek of old? The possibility might be remote, but it's not impossible. And that sliver of potential, that whisper of maybe, is enough to keep doors ajar. For Miami, the stakes are significant. This is a franchise that has rarely dipped its toes into the first round of the NFL draft in recent memory. In the past 3 drafts, the Dolphins have selected just once on day one. That lone pick, Chop Robinson, a promising defensive end chosen. 21st overall in 2024. Beyond that, Miami is largely watched as other teams made their futures on draft night. But in 2025, they own the 13th overall pick, a golden ticket in what promises to be a deep and dynamic draft class. Add 2 more first-rounders to that arsenal, and the Dolphins could reshape the foundation of their team in a single offseason. A new identity, a new core, a future not built around Hill's speed, but around youth, versatility, and promise. It would be a seismic shift. Trading Tyreek Hill, even in his current form, would mark the end of an era. For better or worse, he helped define this chapter of Dolphins football. His arrival was bold. His play was electric. His controversies were divisive. And now, the idea of his departure is unsettling. But maybe that's what makes this moment so poignant. Now, there's a melancholy to it all. The slow unraveling of a once glorious run. The quiet acknowledgement that even the brightest stars eventually fade. And somewhere, deep in the heart of Miami's front office, Chris Grier stands at the intersection of past brilliance and future uncertainty. He's not chasing a trade. Not yet. But he's listening. He's waiting. Because sometimes the hardest part of building a championship team is knowing when to let go. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.